The internet is a very loud place when it comes to money, and if you want to start a massive argument in the financial world, simply bring up the topic of paying off your house. Immediately, you will be bombarded by two conflicting sides. On one side, a 25-year-old on social media will tell you that paying off a low-interest mortgage is mathematically stupid. They will argue that you should stretch your mortgage for 30 years, take the surplus cash and invest it in the stock market to capture the spread. On the other side, older generations scream that debt is a curse and you must pay off your home immediately. Most people suffer from this financial noise. They end up paralyzed by indecision, staring at spreadsheets, trying to mathematically optimize a life that is completely unpredictable. Welcome to Bruce Invests, where we explore the calm, practical, and often invisible realities of money that most people are too busy consuming to notice. Today, we are going completely mute the noise. We are going to look past the basic spreadsheet math and explore the unbending physical realities of what actually happens when you completely eliminate your mortgage. We are going to break down why paying off your primary residence fundamentally alters the physics of your financial life. Let us begin with the first major shift. Point 1. The illusion of the spreadsheet arbitrage. The mathematical argument for keeping a mortgage is called arbitrage. If your mortgage interest rate is 4% and the stock market returns an average of 8%, the math says you should keep the mortgage and invest the difference to make a 4% profit. On a pure, emotionless spreadsheet, this is correct. But human beings do not live inside Excel spreadsheets. We live in a highly volatile physical reality. The spreadsheet assumes that you will never lose your job. It assumes the stock market will not crash by 30% the same year you have a medical emergency. It assumes your psychological tolerance for risk is infinite. A mortgage is not just a mathematical line item. It is a mandatory, unbending monthly contract with a massive financial institution. If the economy collapses, the bank does not care your spreadsheet. They demand their capital or they take your shelter. When you eliminate the mortgage, you eliminate the single largest point of failure in your financial architecture. You are no longer trading your physical security for a few percentage points of theoretical market spread. You transition from a renter of capital to an absolute owner. This leads directly to the second profound change. Point 2. The cash flow tsunami. To understand wealth, you must understand cash flow. Cash flow is the oxygen of your financial system. For the average person, a mortgage payment consumes anywhere from 25 to 40% of their monthly take-home pay. It is a massive, heavy boulder sitting directly on your financial hose, restricting the flow of your capital. The month you make your final mortgage payment, that boulder is removed. Suddenly, the mathematics of your monthly budget experience a violent positive disruption. Thousands of dollars that were previously vanishing into the banking system are now instantly redirected back into your control. You have essentially given yourself the largest tax-free raise of your life without having to work a single extra hour and without asking your boss for a promotion. This is the phase where wealth generation becomes terrifyingly fast. Because you have already learned the discipline required to pay off a house, you simply take that exact same massive monthly payment and redirect the waterfall. You point that capital directly into broad market index funds. Without the drag of a mortgage, your compound interest engine goes into hyperdrive. You are no longer building wealth while simultaneously servicing massive debt. You are operating at 100% efficiency. But the most powerful change is not just about accumulating more capital. It is about how you interact with the world. We arrive at point 3, the baseline of survival and the risk shield. Every human being has a survival baseline. This is the absolute minimum amount of money required to keep a roof over your head, the lights on, and food on the table. As long as you have a mortgage, your survival baseline is artificially high. You are trapped. You cannot afford to take a lower-paying job. You cannot afford to start a business. You cannot afford to speak out against a toxic corporate culture, because if the paycheck stops, the bank takes the house. When the house is paid off, the unbending laws of physics change. Your survival baseline plummets to near zero. You only need enough capital to cover property taxes, basic utilities, and groceries. This completely changes your career leverage. You suddenly possess the ultimate bargaining chip, the ability to walk away. If your employer demands unreasonable hours, you can say no. If you want to switch to a lower-stress career that pays half as much, you can do it, because your structural expenses are practically non-existent. You can take calculated entrepreneurial risks that would be mathematically suicidal for someone carrying a heavy mortgage. You stop working out of a biological necessity to survive, and you begin working strictly on your own terms. Finally, we reach the ultimate realization. Point 4. The unexplained peace dividend. The internet finance gurus measure wealth strictly in dollars and percentages, but the highest form of wealth is actually a quiet, unbothered nervous system. There is an invisible, heavy psychological tax that comes with owing hundreds of thousands of dollars to a bank. You carry it with you to work. You carry it with you when you sleep. When you receive the physical deed to your property, when you know that no economic downturn, no corporate layoff, and no stock market crash can ever separate your family from their shelter, that psychological tax drops to zero. This is called the peace dividend. It does not show up on a calculator. You cannot graph it on a chart, but it is the ultimate foundation of a truly wealthy life. It is the absolute, unshakable confidence of knowing that the ground beneath your feet belongs entirely to you. Stop letting the internet confuse you with high-anxiety optimization strategies. Build your foundation. Eliminate your ultimate point of failure. Master your cash flow. If you found this perspective valuable, consider subscribing to Bruce Invests. We'll keep exploring the calm, rational realities of money. Thank you for your time.